Well, good evening. Thank you, Michelle, for that kind introduction. I am truly humbled and honored to have the opportunity to be with you here this evening. But before I start out, I must say a few words to Luce and Angel and Akeisha and Asani and all the other men and women, the boys and girls, the youngsters who came into my office a couple of weeks ago. We had the opportunity to chat. You walked into the office and we had a conversation. We gave you a tour of One Please Plaza, and you may not realize it, but you certainly touched the spirit of that office, and I'm going to go so much as to say you touched the spirit of the building. The questions that you asked, the freshness that you brought, the spirit that you brought, and the hope and the energy that you put into that office, we're still talking about that to this particular day. So you have certainly touched us. You know, I'm here listening when you're up here speaking, and you spoke about how you was happy to come to One Please Plaza, and certainly how you were thrilled to have the opportunity to meet with me. But I'm going to say something to you now. In your speeches, you mentioned how, and all what the Boys Club has done for you, the Boys and Girls Club, but I'm not so sure that you really understand how you've touched everyone in this room tonight with your speeches of inspiration, achievement, your spirit, and your greatness. And I certainly have to say to you, all of you, thank you very much for that. First off, I want to thank everyone at the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club and the Board of Trustees for this wonderful event. It has truly been inspirational to hear from the youth of the year and their achievements. It is my honor and my privilege to be a part of this celebration of these outstanding young men and women. I would especially like to thank Joe Patula, I think I pronounced that correctly, and Steve Melton for inviting me to share my journey from my days at the club to where I am today. I also want to congratulate Henrik for being honored as a champion of youth. His work could not be any more fitting for such an award. It is a privilege to be acknowledged along with him tonight. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity, the chance to meet with the ambassadors at One Please Plaza, and I cannot speak enough of this outstanding group of young men and women. The balance of these three priorities was immediately evident. Not only were they academically at the top of their class and extremely well-rounded outside the classroom, some of them boasted about their skills on the basketball court. Now, while it's clear I'm not challenging them in the classroom, I certainly will take them up on the court. So for everyone in the room, we have 500, 600, 700 witnesses. Stay tuned for the upcoming result of the Cops versus the Club basketball game in a few weeks. To borrow a line from a song, I may not be as good as I once was, but I am as good once as I ever was, and we will win that game. Before I begin, I'd like to thank a few people who came to be with me here tonight. One is Jonah Recknier, who's a good friend. Jonah, could you please stand? The other is Jeremy Reisberg. Jeremy, would you please stand? I did not invite them here because they are my friends. I invited them here because of what is in their hearts. These are two caring individuals who know the meaning and the understanding of giving back, the meaning of being a protector, a defender, a guardian, and I'm going to expand on that shortly. The next person I'd like to acknowledge, who's running a little bit late, is Norman Seabrook, another dear friend of mine. Norman is the president of the Correction Officers Benevolent Association. That is what he does, but that's certainly not who he is. I don't have a lot of time to talk about who Norman is, but he certainly is a person who embodies the true meaning of caring, of giving. The phrase, "Am I my brother's keeper?" was probably created because of someone like Norman Seabrook. He understands the importance of being a protector. I also like to acknowledge my two brothers. My younger brother, Terrence, is in the audience. He's about 3 years younger than I. And I remember quite frankly when he was being born. And we had a family discussion, and I voted that we send him back. But as you see, he's here with us today, so I certainly was outvoted on that one. My older brother is here as well. His name is David. David's more like a twin, though he is older. See, people often refer to this as Irish twins because we were born 11 months apart, but we were actually born in the same year. He in January and I in December. So I had the benefit of having an older brother while at the same time having a near twin. We were in the same grades, attended the same schools, graduated high school together, and went to college at the same time. So while I didn't have the benefit of having an older brother who could experience and share with me some of the experiences that he had because we were going through it together, he was okay. He was a keeper. David is the president of the Eagle Foundation, which oversees 4 male schools operating in New York City and another one in New Jersey. The Eagle Foundation was created because David and other like-minded individuals realized that our youth need protectors. I would like to address this term protector that I've been using. I don't use the term lightly. I use it in a literal sense. Our youth need protectors, someone to watch over and protect them, someone to lay out a path for them to walk, someone to be tough when toughness is necessary, someone to be caring when caring is needed, someone to give guidance when guidance is needed, and someone to give vision when sight is warranted. As we get older, we call them mentors. Some people use the term protege. Either way, a person or an entity that performs this function is vital to our young men and our young women. I was very fortunate. I had the perfect protector, my father, who's here today, and I'd like to acknowledge him. My father has 3 sons, and the youngest son is about 47, 48 years of age. And all 3 of his sons, if you ask them today who's their best friend, we all 3 would say it was our father. And that goes to the spell on how much of a protector he was. See, we grew up in a house consisting of 3 boys, a mother and a father. It was quite a journey. I never once, and I have to repeat this, I never once experienced a situation where I did not feel comfortable going to my father for advice. Not one time. That provided an enormous benefit for me when I encountered situations that could have negatively impacted in my future. And I have no doubt in my mind that I would not graduate college, joined the police department, and risen to the chief of department today without my father. See, all my days as a police officer, I've come across countless young men and women who got themselves into a bad situation. They made a bad decision. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And all of these situations could have been avoided. In every single one, a single thought crossed my mind. Did this person have a protector? See, I already stated that protectors are vital. In fact, they're crucial and they are necessary. And a protector does not have to be just one person. It could be a school, a community center, a local gym, or the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club. As a child, that is one of the reasons why I joined that club. There's an old saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm sure each and every one of the people in this audience has heard of that today. Well, I would like to tell you a story about a stonecutter. A stonecutter was hammering away at a rock, and perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it splits in 2. And I know that it was not that blow that did it, but all the blows that had come before it. What this means to me is that we can all make a difference in the lives of these young men and women. You may not see the fruit of your efforts, but on the 101st try, that person or group that actually flicked the switch in that child's life that made a difference will know that it was 100 times before and some of the things that some of the people in this audience did. As you probably already know, over the last few years, the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club built into their already amazing track record a new formula for success. They focus on 3 priorities: academic success, a healthy lifestyle, and good character citizenship. These tenets function like legs on a stool, and without careful balance, the stool will not sit right. But you also need someone to place the stool down, and that is where the protectors come into play. I'm the chief of department for the New York City Police Department. I get to work every single morning, approximately, depending on if I get picked up on time. Sometimes that's a struggle. 5:45, 6 o'clock at the latest, I'm at my desk. And I start my day off with reading all of the incidents that take place the night before. And tomorrow morning, it's going to be the same. I'm going to be sitting at my desk. I'm going to be reading the incidents. And this is what I'm going to, 15-year-old shot, 16-year-old shooter, 13-year-old shot, 13-year-old robbed someone every single day. And the single thought crosses my mind, just like it crossed my mind. I was a foot post officer. When I was a sergeant, I was a lieutenant. These are all situations that could have been avoided, and situations where there's an opportunity that we can make that the last time it happened. So I've been a member of the New York City Police Department for 28 years. The majority of that time was spent in Brooklyn. But whether it's Flatbush, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Crown Heights, Williamsburg, Harlem, Washington Heights, Borough Park, or Sheepshead Bay, one thing remains the same. Our youth need us. They are going to listen to someone. The youth will listen to someone. Is that someone going to be you? Or is it going to be someone on the street, which may not have their best interests in mind? See, they're going to listen to someone who shows them concern, respect, guidance, or love. And as misguided as it may be, there are people in the street that are willing to do that. Throughout my career, through countless meetings with community organizations and community board and community activists, the issue with our children has remained consistent. Who are talking to our children, and who are our children listening to? There was a book that was written a few years ago, and this is not about promoting that book. It was called The Other Wes Moore. And Wes Moore is related to my wife, and I've known Wes Moore since he was 4 years of age. And it's a story of two Wes Moores. One individual who graduated to college, went to the military, worked on Wall Street, has a TV program now. The other Wes Moore is spending time in jail for committing an armed robbery in which he shot and killed an off-duty cop who was working a second job to protect his family. They were born 1 year apart. One person's life, entire life is out in front of them. The other person is going to spend the rest of their life in a jail cell 6x9. There is one difference between them. One had a protector, the other did not. New York City has seen a record reduction in homicides, shooting, and overall crime. But even one shooting, one homicide, one crime involving a child is one too many. I want to discuss some other statistics with you, but before I do, let me ask you this. How do you put a statistic on our youth? What is a good statistic? What is a bad statistic? If the graduation rate in New York City was 99%, which is approximately 2 years ago, was 60%. 60% of people graduate from New York City, high schools in New York City. If it was 99%, and it could be 100%, then what does the 99% really mean? See, countless members of our youth have passed through the criminal justice system, and I've had a front row to see that for 28 years. A system that some people refer to as a path of no return. They go in, but they never come out. I have been in a position to see this for far too long. Our youth being shot, our youth being robbed, our youth being killed, and in most instances, our youth shooting them, robbing them, and killing them. I cannot recall one situation, not one situation, that I do not believe deep in my heart that it could have been avoided. If you look at the thousands of our kids, like the kids who are in this room today, they're achieving academic success. They're going to college. They're pursuing those dreams, 1,000 of them. I have to ask, how do we get to 1,001? 2012, graduation rate, New York City public high schools was 60.4%. Almost 10,000 juveniles come into contact with the criminal justice system in New York City each and every year. Are these numbers too low, or are they too high? I'm not so sure, but I'd like to ask everyone in the room who wants to make a change to do at least one of three things. Number one, if you have a child, ask yourself, am I the best protector I can be? If you don't have a child, or if your children are adults now, ask yourself, is there a child I can be a protector to? Number three, support the Madison Square Boys and Girls Clubs, because they are protectors and their work is saving lives, which positively impacts South City. Now here comes the hard part, and please think about this. Can you become more involved today than you were yesterday? I know that I can. See, many of us think or have been told that there's nothing much we can do about something. We may feel as though we are on the sidelines or sitting when we should be standing. I can identify with that. Although sometimes I may be sitting, in my heart, I am always standing. And I'm asking each and every one of you to stand with me. I challenge you to find a way to change things at every opportunity. Together, we can accomplish great things. You can be the driving force that launches our children in the right direction. I will close by saying this. The mark of a gentle, considerate audience is one that listens attentively to someone with very limited knowledge, tells them something that they already know a lot about. I know each of you know a lot about what I just spoke about, and more importantly, what we can do about it. Thank you for being so considerate to me tonight.
On behalf of the trustees and, of course, all our kids, I can't think of a greater moment than to give this award to one of our own, our own kid in the club, Chief of the Department of New York City.